Okay, so we drove by my local Target the other day, and when I was there, I noticed that the big orbs. That was really quick. Anyways, those big orbs, this Target concrete blocks that was painted red, were pink. And I was like, did they repaint them the wrong color? But then my sibling went to Target, actually, went to it. No, there was a giant bag on it, tied at the bottom, that they were Kirby faces. They were just pink Kirby's. And it was so funny to me. Anyways, I don't know, that was it. Thought it was very funny. We should take pictures of them and send it to us. But yeah, they were just Kirby. Anyways, let's actually get something done today. By that I mean get part of this trial on its way. Right. Right. I forgot that's where we were. I'm glad I ended it here, because I forgot about this. Anyways, I don't remember how I felt about Junko in the first game. I just remember oddly liking her sister more, which hasn't even been brought up, but I don't remember if I like Junko actually or not. Don't actually remember. We'll see. I don't think she was the worst. I just think, surprisingly, despite having multiple well, I shouldn't say it like that because there's someone with the ID. Besides having a continuously changing personality, she was kind of boring, if I'm not mistaken. She didn't really have much oomph besides clicking the button herself. That was pretty interesting. I'm trying to remember. I really don't remember it. I shouldn't be speaking on something I don't remember, so.
Did you say Junko Enoshima?
I shouldn't
Isn't
be speaking.
she dead?
It's true. I did end up dying the last time. I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to go so fast. I couldn't help it, you know? It was my first time. Jeez, stupid. You're the one who made me go.
Was she this sexual the first time? Or am I wrong here? Because, oh boy. They can't have someone so sexual and then also lampshade how the game sexualizes her. And I think I said it before, but with Mikan especially, but with a lot of these things in this game, is how I thought the first game would play. And is why, I think I definitely said this, why I put it off for so long. So it's oh boy, that's where we're starting today.
And why is someone who died here right now?
I wonder if there's going to be a good explanation, because in the first game, some of the explanation kind of devolved the story for me. So I hope this one doesn't ruin it more, because actual Junko, because I guess her brain could have been uploaded, but how? I feel like they just kind of brought her back from, so far, what I feel is they just brought her back because they wanted to bring her back instead of a really good reason. Maybe she isn't even really Junko. Maybe it is alter ego situation. But anyways.
Do you guys know about an artificial intelligence called alter ego?
Huh?
Exuberance! We are now an AI! We have transcended humanity!
Aren't we all AIs? Aren't we, unless she's saying that she legitimately isn't the same as Us. I don't know.
What AI? Stop saying all this crazy bullshit.
Because like we too are like we are not attached to our body. We are the same. So what's the difference?
You see, my personality is like this because I'm the type who dies easily, right? That's why I made my own AI program while I was still alive.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then someone uploaded me into this Neo World program.
Okay. Okay. So she is her own program. How didn't they say that she has like a lot of skills? When did she get a bunch of skills? Was that in the first one too? I don't remember that.
And that's how Alter Ego Junko hopelessly appeared in front of you guys.
Junko? Junko. Anyways, she said Junko. I say Junko. But, so it's not the same Junko. But she updated her AI personality close enough to, or learned from the first thing, and then someone uploaded. Okay, so right now what I'm getting from this is we have to focus on who uploaded her and why. That's insane. Okay, so yeah, hear me out. I'm not against using that word, but you know, and I'm not saying, like, I have in this game, look, I'm looking at Fujiko, but like, chill, Hajime, chill. That's like a little overboard, just a little bit. This insane. It's a little much. It's a little much. I know she killed, I guess, not firsthand, but, well, kind of, a bunch of people, but like, this insane bitch is Junko Enoshima. She's responsible for everything. The destruction of Hope's Peak Academy, the destruction of the world, the one who took over the Neo World program and forced us to kill each other. It was all. Where is this coming from? Hajime. We weren't like this at the beginning of the game. What was all this bitch is doing? Even so, what am I supposed to do? Even if we know she's Junko Enoshima.
Don't get cautious and think stuff like, what can we do? I mean, we're all ultimate despair here.
I forgot about that. That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool. I do like that. I do, yeah. That's actually pretty interesting.
Each and every one of our classmates looked at us like we're a bunch of loogies on the side of the road. So, let's all be friends.
Like, we were friends. Like, in her eyes, we were friends. Kind of, I guess. She's the leader, I guess.
Hell no! Man, they hate me. And I was thinking of you guys when I tampered with the graduation program. But they still hate me.
Huh?
Tampered with the graduation program?
Remember what that fake Makoto said earlier? About what happens to you when you graduate, right? I feel like you guys weren't getting a big enough reward for graduating. So, I decided to modify what happens so it's something exciting and unique. Just like a game.
Oh.
Uploading your game memories into your real bodies is fine, but letting your friends stay dead just sucks.
I have a question. I forgot it. Oh, what year was this? 2011. I don't remember when flip phones stopped being a thing. A good lineup. It's funny though. We don't really, like, my sibling and I were talking. I went and I have what is this? An iPhone years ago, but not too many, and it still works, and I don't update it ever because I know Apple is is bad and will corrupt your computer, corrupt your phone, so it gets demolished quicker, like internally and blah blah, and battery and blah blah. So what I just don't update it. I never do. I do at like the very beginning of when I got it, but like since it's been years. Problem is I go to get a phone case because this phone case is like splintering. It's wood, and they don't sell them. They don't sell in store this phone case, and my siblings goes in there. Obviously, same thing, Apple product. Needs a different plug for the headphones. She lost hers, aka mine, because I gave it to her, and the plug is this special Apple plug, which a few years ago there was only Apple products that sold it because it was trademarked. More people started selling them, and apparently in store they don't sell any wired headphones at our local store, and we're like, can we please get one? And no, apparently not. And it was really interesting because like we haven't gone electronic shopping since I bought this case when I got my phone, and we didn't have headphones since we got the phones because she always used the one that came with it or none. So products move so quickly is what I'm saying. The idea that in a handful of years it goes from not having like the being, I give it wasn't the newest phone when I got it, but the newest or one of the newest phones, to not selling cases for it, and then having headphones go from having plugs to there's no plugs, because when I got the phone it was around the same time my mom washed her headphones, the ones that came with it. So I was coming home from work one day and I'm like, I'll just drop you off some. So I went, picked up some headphones. I know they were the only ones sold. Were the Apple phones, the same ones that come with the phone. And I'm like, God, they're not even good, but okay. So I got them for her. At that point I didn't have actually I didn't have this one, so I didn't have the same problem. But it's just like in a handful of years it goes from Apple being the only one that has this plug to other people getting it to being all wireless, because it isn't about convenience, it's about a profit, and I hate capitalism is what the whole point is.
That's why I decided to resurrect them.
We'll go back to Junko now.
This is the new graduation program I'm offering.
I do wonder what's happening here. Okay, resurrection, but they said that they're dead.
Resurrect?
So there's something going on, because she wants us to graduate. She's trying to persuade us.
Hey, are you serious?
We know that.
Can you really do that?
It was like real hard, you know?
I forgot she makes... Is this the same? Do we have this before? I was gonna be like, I forgot she makes this face, but honestly, I don't even remember if she does. If she did.
The graduation program is the core part of this game, so it was protected with a lot of encrypted codes. It took me a long time. I felt so much despair about how useless I am.
Girl, what? I'm so distracted. Graduation program, it was protected with a lot of encrypted. It took a long time. Okay.
Well, one advantage of being an AI is that I got smarter with computers. Before that, every time a computer froze, I used to put it in a microwave and nuke it.
Okay. How did you make an AI program then? Because for me, it seemed, I thought she was going to say that she has a bunch of people backing her, or whoever was behind Monokuma, to do all these things. All these different skills needed as like a group, like the opposite, like the Future Foundation had ultimates together to make this program. So I thought there was going to be a group of ultimates against, kind of is. But none of us could have helped make an AI, and the only person who could have made the AI in the first one was... I forgot what their name was. Shihiro. Is that going to be explained, or we're good now?
Show of hands, class. How long do you think it took for me to modify it?
At the beginning of the game?
Who cares about that? Are you serious when you say that everyone who died will come back to life?
Or multiple years?
Did you forget? You gotta answer questions to progress the story. That's the rule of this game, right? By the way, I'll give you a clue. You guys were always watching time slip away at a certain place.
The Central Park, Jabberwock Park, that's what it's called. Also, in the image, right under my face, that head-on image, her ears look kind of big. They're very prominent. Not to shame her. It was just stood out to me right then. I'm like, oh.
So you're not gonna tell us until we answer that?
We're completely at her mercy. But we can't progress unless we answer. We have no choice but to answer. How long it took for Junko Nishima to modify the graduation program. She said we were watching how long it took. Well, she didn't say that. She said we were watching time tick away. I mean, technically, that's not the same thing. If so, the certain place we were watching that was...
I see.
The countdown at Jabberwock Park. That's the only place we can think of. That's the only place we consistently watch that has anything to do with time.
But that, but if she was working tirelessly, what if she didn't get it in the time limit?
Then that countdown represented the time that was needed to modify the program.
How brilliantly wrong! You're totally wrong about that tricky timer.
Wrong? Then what was it?
How should I put this? I was just goofing around.
Huh?
I mean, isn't stuff you don't understand exciting even though you don't get it?
Yeah,
It's kinda like
sure.
superhero cosplayers, or someone else's designs of alien life and stuff, right?
It was just for show?
Oh, I thought she meant she was goofing around while trying to do the coding, and I was like, okay, sure. And I thought she was talking about the code not making sense. Got it.
In the end,
I
it
got
was
it.
meaningless. Does that fill you with despair? Like getting booted from a game server? You know those murder mysteries where the culprit is really the detective who's investigating the murder?
Those don't have to be. I guess it's a little. Is that what despair is? I guess, maybe. Oh.
Well, I'm so over predictable crap like that. Just what did you expect at this stage of the game?
Okay, so the thing that was nothing. Literally, the whole countdown thing was nothing. Got it.
She's seriously messed up.
Well, in a way, the countdown implied I was on a mission.
True. I'm trying so hard to keep track. I'm very tired.
Did you ever make up your own silly rules, like don't step off the white line when you cross the road? I was testing myself to see if I could get you guys into the graduation program before the timer reached 0.
Yeah, there was a different streamer I was watching, and he was playing with a different guy, so I don't actually know that guy very much. But so I'm going to keep it vague. But what happened is that guy, he mentioned, like, if I don't, when I'm, like, driving, if I don't pass a pole in, like, 3 seconds, I'm blank. And sometimes, like, he said, like, I am gay if I don't do that. And, like, obviously there's nothing wrong with being gay. But 2, I think he wasn't saying it was, but, like, anyways, moving on. It's, like, a weird thing, but sometimes people will say, if I don't do this, this will happen. Sometimes it's bad things, like, if I don't pass, like, again, like, if I don't walk fast enough, if I don't make it within this time limit, if I step off this line, sometimes it's bad things will happen, like, someone will die or someone will get injured, but it could just be as simple as, kind of a, like, really into, you know, if I step off the white line, am I gay? Then I'm gay, kind of thing. And that's a very OCD response, which people don't seem to realize, because a lot of people started to talk about that and be like, yeah, same. And there was, like, a different moment where someone was talking about how, in a different video, completely different people, they were cleaning up their apartment, and she was like, if I don't keep this, I'm going to need it in, like, even just a year. But I'm going to need it. I'm going to have to re-get it. And the person's like, no, you gotta let it go. And they were talking about how it was, they have hoarding qualities, or, yeah, qualities, because they have OCD. They have hoarding qualities because of OCD. But that sentiment of, if I get rid of it, I'm going to need it, is literally a symptom of OCD as well. So it's really interesting. So I don't know if that first person has OCD, but that is a quality. That's not the word I'm looking for. Not a symptom, but it is. Maybe it's a symptom, but maybe that's a word. But it was really interesting, because that literally could be related to different things, or OCD itself, which is interesting. Anyways, it just reminded me, because my sibling is a psychology graduate, who did a bunch of different things many years in school. So watching things like that, and watching them talk about it, my siblings, like, that's their OCD, because this person was the second person was diagnosed. It's like, that's literally just their OCD speaking, and luckily they kind of got over it and they were working through it. But yeah, so it was really interesting, because, you know, I don't know, it just reminded me.
Enough. Please
Okay.
stop.
Don't be so disappointed. It's totally true. I had a hard time manipulating the program. While you guys were at the beach making wrinkly dog faces, I was working so hard on my own, you know?
Hey, enough of this pointless crap. Are you seriously going to resurrect everyone who died?
She's not. But also, does that mean she was Monokuma speaking the whole time while doing the program?
Like I said, it's easy. It's just a game after all.
I want to yawn, but I don't want to give it to them. Just a game.
Yeah, each and everything that happened in this world was just an event within the game.
Are we shocked that, I guess, we're calling it a game? Monokuma has been calling it a game this whole time, and we know it's an AI
There's no
or
way anything that occurred
program.
in the game could affect the real world.
What you're saying now is completely different from what you said before.
I was like, his mouth isn't moving. Yep, they never do.
You said whether or not
They
it's
never
alive.
do.
The moment you feel something is real, it becomes real.
The game where you throw my words back at me is over, so you don't really have to worry about it.
I like that face with the little shading. I like that.
Fine. I won't worry about it.
Oh.
Hey,
Who fucking cares about logic? As long as everyone who died comes back to life, that's good enough.
Yeah.
But if we do not understand the principles behind it, then we do not even know if it is really possible.
Anything goes in this world. You've seen that happen so many times already, right?
Well, if a high school girl can get huge, then it's not crazy if the dead can come back to life, right?
If she's saying that's how she tampered with a computer program, how are we supposed to respond to that?
That's right. That's why you should finish this game and go back to living a normal life in the real world.
I wonder how this will actually. Wait, how will this end? Oh, right, the third option. I keep forgetting. I'm like, if we stay, that would be interesting. Repetitive, repeat. You forget, you re-go, and you do it over and over and over again. That would be weird that we can and leave. Well, I guess if you can bring them back to life, you can reset them. But then I was like, but then if we graduate, like, is that going to be it? But no, right, because real Makoto mentioned the emergency shutdown.
If we go back, what do you get out of it?
Fair.
What benefit do you get by making us return to the real world? As long as we don't know what it is.
Man, so annoying. You're so petty. It's not like you're a housewife living on a tight budget. All I want is to put on this graduation performance in a more dramatic way. Well, if you doubt me, you don't have to go back. Is that what you want? Not to go back?
Isn't the Earth... Isn't the Earth destroyed? Wasn't there like literally meteors? Did we know about that?
Oh, hold on a sec. We're obviously going to get out of here. If it'll bring our dead friends back, it's all we can do.
Of course! We've been working toward that goal for, like, forever!
Because we had that goal, we were able to endure those killings.
Plus everyone can go back together. So there's no reason to hesitate.
You are right. There is no way we can choose to stay here after all we've been through.
Just as expected from the winners of this killing school trip, your will to live is truly ultimate.
So they really... Oh yeah, I was like, they really are ultimate, but I'm like, of course they are. We were part of the school.
Wonderful. That's just more reason for you to execute your role.
I don't know why my brain just went there. I'm like, what? What? Devices.
Okay, now let's stop stalling for time with exposition and hurry up and do it.
Yeah, we're probably not even close to being the end, to end it here.
Now then,
Not
why
even.
don't you guys just go ahead and answer with the touch panel that's in front of you? I'm gonna do it. I'm seriously gonna do it. If you don't hurry up, I'm seriously really gonna do it.
She is so skinny.
You don't have to say, who are you talking to? It doesn't concern a chump like you, Hajime.
Chump? Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be over once we press this.
So, we just have to press graduate, right?
If we do that, we can go home, right?
I can go back? With this, I can finally go back? He's right. Who's right? Oh, I guess just go back in general. I was like, who? God, my brain. He's right. With this, we can finally go back. This will all be the end. Or this will be the end, God brain. And our friends who died will be saved. That's way? Yeah, yeah. I don't know why my brain thought it was going to say that's why. Like, that's why blank. Like, that's why we have to do it. Anyways, that's way beyond what we expected. Then, it's safe to say that I can't save here. Can I save here? Oh, I can. Look at that. Cool. Couldn't do that before with a choice. Then, it's safe to say that this is the good ending, right? I'm assuming the correct answer is press nothing. I don't know, but my brain, like, don't press anything. My brain was like, what? Don't press anything. Yeah, it says don't. It was a negative. I was saying it in a positive. So I wonder if these two would be the same result. I think this is the correct answer. I kind of want to click one of these just to see what happens, and theoretically I did just save. So, theoretically, I'm going to click press repeat. Hey, that's the repeat button. Don't you get it? If you press that, we're stuck here, you know? Are you... You better not start saying how we're better off staying here. I can go back. With this, yeah, we can finally go back. Cool. Yeah. I'm gonna press graduate. I really think press nothing is the correct choice here. I hope so. I'm gonna click graduate.
I got it!
Ah, heck.
Don't press it! This is Junko's trap!
Can I load a save from here, or do I have to go back? I just wanted to know what they say. I wonder if this will just happen anyways. Anyways, we'll continue. I like his look so much better. I like his look better than Hajime's look. I'm just gonna be real. Oh. I do. I don't mind our face. It's just something about it. Maybe solely his hair. I think it might just be his hair. I wonder. I think even if it's just the top part. There are no alternate routes at that decision. Okay. Yeah, but I still like getting all the dialogue. Even if it's not like a whole sequence. Like the first game had that whole sequence. Huh?
What the heck? That guy from earlier is back again!
It's not again. This time, it's the real one.
And we're supposed to believe you?
Real? I'm Makoto Naegi. Makoto Naegi of the Future Foundation.
This guy is the real Makoto Naegi? Then, this is the guy I spoke to.
I'm sorry I'm late. I actually wanted to come rescue you sooner, but...
Should we, you know, ask him for verification? Like, why did you choose that number? Or, what number did you choose? No, we already answered that. Yeah. Why did you choose it?
Thanks to the virus infecting the Neo World program, I wasn't able to enter.
Just when the chumps are in a pinch, he's suddenly able to enter for reasons unknown. And thus, the main character gallantly appears. So cool! I'm drooling! So much!
Did you also time my arrival?
I mean, it would make sense if you just happened to be able to make it.
No, it doesn't matter. I'm going to save everyone, and then I'm going to settle this between us once and for all.
So, like, Makoto definitely has trauma from the first game. Obviously. Seeing her must be trippy. I know she's only the big form, or the, like, picture form, I guess. The video form. But it still probably is pretty haunting to see someone that's, like, you know, you saw die. And was the reason you went through so much trauma.
How were you able to get here, Makoto?
She's so much. She's just so much.
Since I used my tricks to hack into the program, you must have hacked in with his tricks too, right? That's also how you kept your memories, right? Even though you haven't aged a day, just like these guys.
Ah. That's why he doesn't look any different. Because he hasn't aged a day.
If I hadn't, then I wouldn't have been able to save everyone.
Don't you understand? It doesn't matter how you got here. As long as you're here, you'll be treated like one of my students.
She also didn't lose her memory.
Which means you must respect my authority.
I already know the risks of being here.
Ugh, you always had such reckless hope. I love you so much that you disgust me.
Hey, just what do you mean by trap? What is Junko's trap?
It doesn't matter.
It does.
We can finally end this, you know? If we get out of here, it'll all resolve itself peacefully. After all this, I can't let you get in the way. The fact that you guys are even thinking like that is Junko's trap. Huh?
You know what I want? I think I mentioned it before. I really want to hold and try out that like flip touchscreen phone, and it flips like a certain way. I don't know, maybe out like a book. But the problem is texture finger. I don't like texture on my fingers. So if I'm like using a touch screen, and it has that seam there, and I'm like, but I also really want to try it. But obviously, I'm not really gun-ho about, you know, tech and morals and best customer use, not review, like customer experience with phones and stuff, and also again blah blah. But anyways, I knew someone that had it and he broke it really easily, but I know he is not very gentle being, so he breaks all of his stuff. No matter how expensive it is, he'll just break it. So part of me is like, I know someone that broke one of those phones, but then I also know he's not very safe with it. So part of me really wants to try it out though, touch it with the seam, because I just think about flip phones because it's so fun. I used to have a flip phone that would flip upwards, but also like sideways, so it would text easier. But it broke, and then it just kept breaking and breaking and breaking. I think that was my last flip phone I had before. Like, I think it was like an iPhone 4, but I know there was iPhone, maybe even a 6 that was out. There was multiple iPhones later on that was out, but I got like an iPhone 4. That was the first time I had one. Yeah. I'm just still thinking about phones. Sorry.
She's lying to you about your dead friends coming back to life.
She wouldn't do something like that.
Little old me.
Exactly. Did I mention? By did I mention, I mean I'm going to tell the story anyways, because I don't think I mentioned it. But I have, well, they call it a carpal tunnel. Pretty much my joints panic. I have just very sensitive joints. It will cause like my feet to fall asleep, my hands to fall asleep, stuff like that. So anyways, the problem is they think it's like just some reason too much fluid. It will hurt my jaw, so like chewing hurts and all that. So anyways, so at one point I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, my hands, you know, they fall asleep, but at night I'll do this thing where I'll have it sometimes in a fist and I'll go like this. But I did it with both my hands, so I kind of just did like a little this to explain to my doctor. And when I did that, I realized like I look like that little like a little cat, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe I did that. But I was trying to explain. So I'm like, play it cool though. She has no idea. We're professionals here, you know. So I'm like, did this, and so my doctor, who is an adult woman, she was like, oh, interesting. So yeah, you know, don't do that. If you do that, you can wear a brace at night, especially since you can't feel your finger. It might be good. And she goes, yeah, it's because you're just doing, and she does the same exact thing. She holds them up and by her face goes, whoop, and hit her wrist like this. And I'm just like, oh my god, I'm not a mature enough adult because like my siblings, we make fun of like the because it just is funny. It's hilarious to us, and I had to try to become a mature adult for 2 seconds and not laugh at us in a room, just keep going, like, because even I think there was a guy who gave me a brace for free. Give it was only like a $20 brace, but that was very nice. He gave me a brace for free, and he did like the same thing with only one hand though, and he just same thing. We just all were It was very funny to me. A different time when I was talking to my surgeon that I'm going to in a month go see again. But anyways, what happened is I was wearing a mask with aliens on it, like a very, the cartoon green aliens on it. and I was wearing that, and so like later on we mentioned, we were talking, because, you know, I know how to have normal conversations with people, and somehow I mentioned, like, I like the color of his shirt, because somehow whatever happened. And so I mentioned it, and he's like, oh cool, I like your, you know, your mask with alien, because I forgot that I was wearing aliens to a professional, not a professional, but a meeting with a surgeon. And what happened is, he said, you know, I like your mask, I like aliens. And he starts to walk out the door, and he comes back, and he goes, well, I like the classic alien face. I don't like, not aliens. And he took a beat, and he's like, yeah, that's a good enough explanation. He walked away, and I'm sitting there just like, what? Because now I have more questions. Does he think aliens are real and he hates aliens? Does he think he was trying to explain to me that he doesn't think aliens are real, hence he does not have feelings towards aliens? Did he want to not seem like he actually likes aliens, but he does and he thinks they're real? Or he likes aliens but he doesn't want to seem it and he thinks they're not real? But either way, it was very funny to me, because now I have more questions about this guy's opinion on aliens that I didn't realize I ever would have had to ask someone. But now I'm like, wait, I want to know. I do want to know what his opinions are, but I don't know how to ever bring it back up. Ever.
Who do we trust?
Anyways, right, this.
You knew Junko's true
I think-
goal. You know she's lying.
I do think I told that before, told that story about the aliens. But anyways, who cares? This is my playthrough. If I get to play, what, like 40 episodes of this game, I can do what episodes? Videos, I guess, episodes work, of this. I can say whatever I want, as many times as I want.
You know her goal? Yeah. Junko's goal is to convert the Hope Restoration Program to the Despair Restoration Program.
Is she trying to give us back despair? Is that the whole point? Bring us back to where we were before, but in the real life?
Despair Restoration Program?
As part of the graduation program, your avatar's memory and consciousness is uploaded into your real body.
Okay.
However, none of us expected that any of the avatars would get deleted.
Ah, murdered. Okay.
Junko has taken advantage of that opportunity.
Okay.
She intends to use her version of Alter Ego, the AI she stole my friend's skill to create.
Yeah, did I mention I watched, Free Guy, because personally I love watching things about video games, because I love video games in media, and it was great because they had to explain what things were. So at one point they were like, oh my god, is that an NPC? And then another moment they're like, and then they explained it, because it was like, oh, it was very clunky, it was very almost jokingly clunky, like that's how you joke with someone of how clunky it was. That one particular one. But like, oh, there was another scene that was super clunky. There's some clunky moments in that movie. It's solid 3.5. 3.7. Solely because of Channing Tatum. Anyways, he carried that whole movie. He was only in it for a scene or two, but whole movie, that was by far the best point of it. Anyways, I'm watching the movie. Oh yeah, pretty clunky moments, but one of the moments of it was like, yeah, with like the skin, like, you know, the avatar. So they explained what an avatar is, like this, and then because like you have to have the movie so anybody watching it can understand what's being said, which is funny that I guess the same thing here. It's like, oh, we gotta explain everything so no one's left out. But like we already know that Alter Ego is an AI, but so it's like it's kind of this explanation wouldn't have, I think, been as clunky if it wasn't run to the ground, but
And upload herself into the bodies of everyone whose avatar was deleted.
bro, you can't just do that. Which one would be the real you? It's a whole clone situation. Can an AI really, wait, can an AI actually run a human? So like, Ultra Ego was real. An actual consciousness. An actual being.
What?
That's scary. That also has to do a lot with Fall Guy. Free Guy, not Fall Guy. Fall Guy is a video game.
Then
Free Guy.
everyone who died isn't gonna come back to life.
They're gonna be taken over by Junko?
What the fuck? Like the real world. Once an avatar is deleted from this virtual world, it can't be recovered.
Why don't you just take the bodies off of the simulation? Like, if I was Makoto, hear me out. Maybe they will explain it. Hear me out. If I was Makoto and I see 16 people in front of me, and more than half are just brain dead, like bodies are alive but brain dead. You take them out of the machinery. You move them away from the program. You unhook them. I'm assuming they have like very much like Matrix situation going on, like a pod. You can move them. You can even keep their bodies alive, but don't have them connected, and that way she can't upload herself. Duh. And then you don't have to risk coming in here, like you said.
It's actually impossible to revive them.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
That doesn't mean I was lying, you know? I just didn't make some things clear.
No, that was a full lie because you said they would come back, but you know, that's fine. Yeah. I really like people talking about philosophy because it's really interesting to me that people fully believe in certain things when other people don't. So like what a lie is, it really depends on, I think there's more universal takes than we think, but fully depends on who you're talking to. But anyways, it just, anytime it's like, oh, I just left things out, I wasn't lying, it always makes me think of those kind of things. But anyways, but I guess more, when is it bad to lie is like the big thing on that, but that doesn't matter. None of this matters. None of it matters. I'm just too tired for this. Anyways, who else is gonna show up? Because how many people were at the, there was 5 people at the end, but we only need 2 more in this, I think. So who are the 2 that's gonna show up?
And even if they're overwritten by my alter ego, it doesn't mean they'll be a completely different person. The data of everyone who died is stored within me, so
Oh.
I'm sure I can convincingly act out their personalities.
Okay, still not them though. Still not them.
Good. Don't mess with me.
Anyways, unplug them.
In fact, I have a lot of data on Fuyuhiko, so I know some things that'll make you happy. I can play a version of Keiko that's more to your liking than she ever was.
No.
I said, don't fucking mess with me!
I'm going to assume they mean being friends instead of being a worker for him.
Operation Junkify All Mankind begins here!
Junkify all mankind?
After uploading my alter ego into everyone who died, I'm gonna take over the Future Foundation's headquarters.
I don't know why, I assume they're kind of like heavily guarded if there's so much machinery and I think government, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I assume government, but government. So my ear is itchy. Anyways, point is, I kind of assume that they have better machinery, and by machinery I mean artillery, as in guns or protection, than even if you took over all of us, being 16 people. I still think they would be able to, you know, win that fight.
And then, eventually, there's gonna be a whole lot of me's all over the world.
Would you want to live in a world with just yourself? And is this a hive mind situation, or are each of them individual that will have their own experiences?
With this, my despair utopia, where you can despair as you please, Junko Land, will be complete. That's Operation Junkofy all mankind in a nutshell. Oh yeah! Our dreams are expanding and...
That messed up plan is your goal?
Then why didn't you just kill all of us? If you did, you could have taken over all of our bodies. Wouldn't that have been more convenient for you?
Is that what you want me to do? Is it still too late to do that?
No. There's a reason Junko couldn't do that. That's why she made you guys kill each other.
Imagine if we killed quicker than her plans, though. So, like, imagine, because obviously whatever it's gonna be, but just imagine we're like, day one, we just, like, people are just slaughtering each other, and she's just like, I don't have the program set up to take over their bodies yet, and I need someone to be alive. That's how I imagine. Like, just imagine just, like, completely just failing. Just like, oh, no. The reason she wasn't able to do that, was it because there was something she didn't do? If so, then the reason is... the school rules?
I see.
Because she is the teacher.
Got it. It's because of the school trip's rules.
So good.
Even a monster like her has to follow the rules of the school trip?
Junko usurped Usami's authority as an observer, and her role as your teacher.
However, according to the rules of the school trip, even Usami had to follow them. That's why when Junko took over her position, she had no choice but to follow the rules as well.
The lead teacher can't directly interfere with the students. Oh,
So,
that was it.
the rules were protecting us?
Indirectly.
Man, I was so annoyed. I had the authority to add rules, but no authority to delete rules.
Oh, like, the Constitution? Like, is it the Constitution? I might be getting the wrong word here. But in US government, and give it, there's probably nuances that I don't know. I learned this in, like, middle school. But there's just so many, whatever rules they are. Because you can't just inherently get rid of something. You can reword it. Or you can add one, canceling out the first one. But you can't fully just get rid of something. So you can, like, amend it, or you can add another rule to get rid of it completely. Like, this one is no longer in date. Well, that might be also editing. But anyways, so it's interesting that you can't just get rid of something. So obviously there's probably a rule about not contradicting rules that Junko had to follow, but it's just, like, interesting that that's why it's so hard to keep track of everything, because if something was a rule, and even if it technically is still an active law, or whatever the word is here in the United States, it doesn't actually mean it is still in effect. It can be retconned by a different rule. Which was a really interesting situation, trying to read about that and learn about it, where the teacher's like, no one knows all of them, because, like, it's hard to keep track of them all, because there's so many, like, it's not just, it's gone now, poof, goodbye. You have to, like, cancel it out and like time out certain things. Like it's not just like crossed out. Anyways.
Oh well, even if I could have deleted rules, I was still busy with my whole taking over your bodies plan.
So you made us kill each other, because you couldn't kill us yourself.
Then, is that how you were able to increase the number of bodies you can take over?
Like I said, I personally didn't care about the outcome of the killings.
How dare you look down on us? Don't fuck with me. What about our lives?
Chump change.
I won't forgive you. I will never, ever fucking forgive you!
If they do, well, I don't know if they would, but if they do remember who they are, in this moment, at least, you have to think, like, if I was them, you would have to think that, like, this is the person I looked up to, this is the person that I did these terrible things for, and, like, be like, she doesn't even care about us. I mean, obviously, Fuyuhiko's going through emotions different than that, but for me, I would think about that, where I'm just like, I killed my own family for this. I killed my friends for her. I, mutilated my body for her. Was it worth it?
So that's your trap. You tried to make us choose graduate, so you can take over everyone's body with the graduation program.
So, did Hajime know all the people? I'm still thinking about the boat scene. Did Hajime know all the people? Because he didn't know Nagito. Because I was, sorry, my brain was like, I'm just kind of glad that we weren't like, oh, but not you, you were good, you were a good guy. Because, like, so many times, it's like, not you, though, you were fine. Where, like, everyone's evil, not you, though. Which, again, huge spoilers, so, like, you know, don't listen for, like, 2 seconds if you care about the old Agatha Christie book, and then there was none, but or movie. I like the 2020 something 2-part. I guess it's called a mini series, but it's like a movie. Anyways, there's like 2 episodes. Anyways, point was, I like that they were all actually bad people. Like, they were all on the same page. It was very, very nice, instead of being like, oh, but not you, though. You're a good one. Which, obviously, I mean, it's Agatha Christie. I mean, she might not know how to name a book. And the same book I'm talking about, and then there was none. But, she can write a good murder mystery.
How
Anyways,
can you be so cruel?
I'm still not over the title of the book, because I remember learning it the first time years and years ago, where I thought the rhyme, that's not a rhyme, is it a rhyme? Poem, I think they call it a poem. The poem, I thought that was a real poem that she riffed on, like she took and she put it into her book, but apparently she made up that poem, and I'm like, oh, Agatha Christie, no.
Because Junko Enoshima is the true ultimate despair.
Are we gonna just forget about Ikusawa? I feel so bad for her.
She doesn't yearn for any kind of future at all. She fills every person she meets with despair.
That's my Makoto. You understand me so well.
This one isn't too bad, I guess. There's still not over that I'm like, oh, we were all in the same grade, but maybe not us all. Maybe. No, because we did talk. I don't remember. I don't understand her timeline, but that's not the point. Do I understand her timeline? I might. Anyways, but the point is, for all of us, I'm still not over, like, Teruteru and, like, Nekomaru. Just seemed older than the rest of us. Even Gundam a little bit.
For me, despair is not a goal, or a
Anyways.
set of principles, or a lifestyle, or even an instinct.
Anyways, Junko will never know the despair of being forgotten by the game writers. That you were part of the ultimate despair. The whole freaking 6th chapter of the first game was talking about how there was 2 ultimate despairs. That was a whole twist.
It's what defines me as Junko Enoshima. It's just my characterization. That's why I'm able to pursue despair with such purity.
So you're saying you only exist to fill people with despair?
For example, want to hear about a beautiful memory that even I, who gets bored easily, still remember fondly? Picture thousands of fools who are madly in love with me, dying one by one like insects doused with bug spray. And the best part is, they did it to themselves, you know?
Thousands of humans falling like dominoes. Oh, that memory is so beautiful. It made my brain melt.
Yeah, about that. Does that story have a happy ending?
Could it be? She's talking about them right now. She's talking about the reserve course students. But I don't know if I like Junko actually.
Are you talking about the reserve course's mass suicide?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot you're a survivor of the reserve course. By the way, I'm so sorry for your loss.
It's okay, we don't remember it.
Mass suicide? What's she talking about?
An incident where 2,357 people from the reserve course all killed themselves. Junko probably made them do it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Because the reserve course students weren't part of the first game, they talk about the most tragic event in human history and of Hope's Peak. They mention Hope's Peak in particular about how it was awful and how 13 or something students died. And there was like the bloody classroom and how we're like, that must be it. 2,357 students. The whole reserved course died. And that wasn't the tragic part. Like, yeah, it was suicide, but like, no, like we're not going to talk about all of those people were not part of the the disaster. What is it? The whatever. Who cares? The tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy. Like, no, we won't be like, oh boy, that was a lot of dead kids.
2,357 people? That's an outrageous number.
Kids.
You don't have to be that surprised. You all look like your parents, friends, and lovers all died at once. Oh, that was so rude of me. There's no way you guys even have meaningful relationships like that anymore. I mean, you're all ultimate despair. You guys have already eaten your fill of despair.
I do not really know what you are trying to say.
Junko robs the futures of everyone she interacts with. You ultimate despairs are among her many victims.
If someone like me is born, that means the world is yearning for despair.
That's wrong. The world isn't yearning for despair. That's the reason we can't let you escape.
But if you do that, you guys won't be able to return to the real world, right?
Huh?
If we choose graduate to get out of here, the graduation program will activate, right?
If that happens, Junko's alter ego will be uploaded into the bodies of the dead.
Does that mean we gotta stay here to keep her from getting out?
If I didn't know about the third option, which obviously I understand why they would tell you it so it doesn't come out of nowhere, I think it would be really interesting right here, right now, to have the feeling of self-sacrifice or self-preservation of, are you going to get out of a simulation or repeat? It's not even continue living, it says like repeat, meaning maybe even start over, but like are we going to choose, especially if we know that forever we're going to stay here, forever our bodies are different, our family is gone, our loved ones are gone, like all that. I think it would be interesting if we had that despair sticking out to us right now, but it's not, because we already know about the third option.
What the heck? Why does it have to be like that?
You know, I really do like his look. His teeth being sharp, I didn't even notice until my sibling pointed it out. But, like, I didn't think anything of it, but, like, I do like his design.
It's
I really do.
fate for you guys. But it's awfully convenient for the Future Foundation.
I think Junko's look is a little dated. I think loose ties and bras under business shirts like that, I want to say it's a little dated fashion-wise, which is understandable given the fact that she's supposed to be a fashionista. So, like, obviously she's supposed to be fashionable, so they're going to choose a look. But anyways,
They'll be able to keep all the ultimate despairs, including me, trapped in this game forever.
I think purely on looks, I want to say Soda's probably overarchingly my favorite. I think Gundam's really close, but I think his hair just doesn't for me. It just doesn't.
Wrong! That's not it!
But ultimate despair is hated worldwide, and their lives are no doubt targeted by the Future Foundation. Oh well, if you don't want to acknowledge that, I guess it just can't be helped. Can't be helped. LOL.
This is nothing to LOL about.
But
I don't know why
so
that
ironic.
threw
You came
me.
all the way here just to find out that graduating is the wrong choice. Even though you came all this way to win the game, even though you kept sacrificing your friends to win. The goal you guys squirmed to reach was wrong all along. Isn't that just so fucking tragic?
But we know of a different option. This is all useless.
Stop it!
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else is my better design. I'm trying to think. Bleak is really cute though, but his design overarchingly was like, it's okay. Like, it's cute. He's cute, you know, like his face, but I meant like look-wise. It was all a mistake? Was this really just a mistake? Was it a mistake to think that we'd go home, or yeah, I'm sorry, I was distracted. That sometimes I speak with my teeth just like not opening, and I'm like, you need to stop mumbling. But then I just remembered a TV show that I was watching that an actress does that, where she mumbles because she's like, I think she just keeps her jaw clenched, but it was like she doesn't enunciate what she's saying. So it's just like, I'm sorry, what? Anyways, so I was just thinking about that. Anyways. Was it a mistake to think we'd go home alive all along? What about the killings and the class trials? Was it just a meaningless killing game where the ultimate despairs killed each other off? I guess people would be upset though if it ended like that, but I think it could be interesting if it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of you. Well, I guess then why would Makoto show up and stuff? But it would be interesting if it just kept, you keep killing and it's somehow always the same. I don't know how they would have done it, but I think it could be interesting if well done. I know in an episode of Lucifer, there's an episode like that, the TV show Lucifer, where somebody's hell is just maybe a year of their life repeated over and over and over and over and over again, because it was like, that was their pain and it's the whole thing. But that's why I think I was so disappointed in Little Hope. Because for me, what I wanted was, I thought it would be interesting if the people right before the ending, there's like this tiniest bit right before the ending in A Little Hope where people are dying in the house, and if you had really good traits, they can come outside the house with you and you keep walking. Now, give it, I understand it could have been a little like ho hum to some people don't like this kind of trope, but it would have been really interesting is if you try to make everyone good stats and be able to walk out and you get the good ending or the true ending, whatever you want to call it, whatever that ending would be. If you get everyone to be a good person and not die, that would have been a really interesting way to get the best, like the true or the best ending, where like nope, and then instead you just are fulfilling it, self-fulfilling, like that, like, oh, all the storylines and all of the different storylines and how you're not good people or whatever, and you will continue to live horrible situations until you fix it. But then in the end, God, the ending of Little Hope was one of the worst. It tripped and it didn't just fall, it tumbled down a hill. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, so, I mean, you know, like, when you go through the house and all the people are getting killed or not killed, and I thought what it was, because some people got out of there, and then it will lead into one of the 3 endings, and I don't know if these are, all this is spoilers, but you either get picked up by a cop, you either, or pretty much essentially the multiple endings were picked up by a cop when you're walking away, and then the people that escaped with you just poof, they disappear, because all of it, no matter which ending you get, it's all in your head this whole time. And I'm like, okay, but it's so weird, because if it is all in your head this whole time, the flashback doesn't matter, the modern day doesn't matter, the only one that matters is the first few minutes. And see, it, because of it being a video game, so because it's a video game, this game and that game, I think in particular, having a video game where you want to replay it and do better is such an interesting thing for a TV show or movie or miniseries, like you said. Yeah, you want a clean ending, a stopping point where things end. For a video game, you want to keep playing it. So if it is like, oh, they're in purgatory, and you want to have everyone turn into the best person they can be, with the best relationships with each other, they're all real. This is not in his head. They're all living reincarnation kind of thing. You want to replay it then. You want to see all the options. You want to try not to have them killed. Oh god, Little Hope was awful for me. The ending, like, it was way better than Man and Medan story-wise. For me, Man and Medan was kind of boring-ish. It wasn't the worst thing that was ever out there, but there was problems. But oh my, so with this, it would be really fun. It's the same thing where if you want to play it over and over and over, like, it's like, not that you want to play it over and over again, but if you play it over again, you want to, it falls into line, you know what I'm saying? So that would have been really interesting, but I know that's not where we're going with it, but I think it would be interesting if kind of situation. Little Hope was the best. Oh, right. I was like, what's the third? Given the fact that I always forget about House of Ashes, I'm going to say it was one of not great. Like, it's just, it wasn't the best. My sister and I had a conversation about, like, very, very brief conversation about this the other day, where it sucks that the 3 that are made for different reasons, but the three that are made, their flaws, how we're not in love with them, make us think that Until Dawn is actually better, because when we watched Until Dawn, my sister didn't love it. My other sibling loved it. They probably watched it about 12 times over. They watched, especially one particular YouTuber. She absolutely loved watching that one person. But in comparison to these, Man and Medan looks better to us. And we're like, yeah. I think there's so many issues with Man and Medan. Did I say Man and Medan earlier? Sorry. I meant Until Dawn. These three make Until Dawn look better. I don't know if I misspoke. Until Dawn. The three modern ones, I don't even think I've watched the end of... Like, I genuinely did not watch the end of House of Ashes. My siblings and I wanted to watch it, so that's why I put off watching yours, and then I'm like, screw it, so I watched yours, but then I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it. Like, that's where I was at with it. I rather have just not watched it. So I can't really speak on it because I technically didn't get to the end. Little Hope I was like, okay, just absolutely no hope going into it, just no hope. And then it was good. It was good. It was like, okay, this is good. This is good. This is good. And then just not even gameplay anymore. Post gameplay. I know you mentioned like it's because it's a video game. I didn't like it even if it was a TV show, it bothers me. I guess the best way to describe it bothers me because there's a scene, or I guess multiple, where a few people, the couple, which is also his siblings, like in canon, they are his siblings exclusively because none of the other timelines exist. So... which is but anyways, so his siblings, they walk away together. I believe it was them too, and he's in one place and they're in a second location, a location he never went to. They come back with items to where he was, so this whole thing doesn't make any sense because he wasn't there. If it was a main character situation, everything else is just around him. But it wasn't. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. And so I think that was one of the biggest reasons why that ending doesn't work for me in general, across the board, no matter what it was. Because how did they get these stuff if he's not there? And then gameplay wise, it doesn't make sense, because if you're playing two-player, a player is controlling these two that are on their own away from this man. I don't remember what his name was. I don't remember what his name is. I think his name was Colin in a different thing, so I kind of want to call him... No, wait, is that the actor's name? Whatever, the guy, the one guy, the main guy. And it's... Anyways, Man and Medan was kind of... boring, and there's fundamental issues about the scares. My favorite, and I will say it over and over again, was Comrade's route. He is by far the best character, but he was also the first and quickest and easiest one to get killed. And that is bad. It seems like the whole game was better if he was in it, so I feel like they should have made him dying harder. Because if I had watched two people play it right away, one person got him killed and one person had him, and the person that had him loved the game, and the person who didn't have him thought the game was bad. And Yeah, because we watched the one where he didn't survive. Like, I watched that one first because it came out quicker. So we watched that one and we're like, this game isn't, it's kind of boring with Man of Dan. And then we watched with Comrade and we're like, wait, actually his scares are better, his storyline, even I think the explanation of what was happening was better. But then because they don't know who was going to be alive in what situations, they needed to give the player explanations of what is happening. So they explained it about like 5 different times because each character had an explanation. And we didn't, if you get one of them, they should have canceled out the other, but they had it, so they repeated it so many times where it's like, it's not actually real. Oh my god, it's not real gold. Did you know that? And I'm like, yes, you already explained this to us like 4 different times. Anyways. Oh, there you go. For me, he was played by Sean Ashmore. Was that the same? Was that guy? I believe so. My sibling absolutely loves him. So that was a plus. His story is better. Even his dialogue, he's just fun. He's like a fun character. I love his scares the most. Like, his scares are the best and also the most thought out. And then there's like a few, I can go on about it, but I'm not. There was, for me, one of the big things is the scares were just not there for me. Not like, oh, they have to be real, but like the fact that there was the 2-headed monster, but then because we saw the two, one of the big issues is the 2 people in one coffin. I said this before, and I know I said this before, but the 2 people in one coffin is why one person got that vision of the 2-headed monster. It makes sense. It is a literal, you see it, you're afraid of it, it's on your mind, here it is. Materian Gold gives you this vision. But that same monster was used at the beginning of the game. But why did that random crewmate have the same fear vision that we had? It doesn't quite make sense. But it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, like, ugh, it's annoying. I never played the games firsthand, so God, no one killed. No, I'm kidding. I never played it firsthand, but I did. Yeah, I did. Again, I watched most, not all, of your House of Ashes. I seen all of the endings because I'm that person. I go and I see all of the branching effects and scenes that come with it of Man of Medan, but Little Hope I wasn't too invested in because it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It's so annoying. Anyways, and then House of Ashes, I don't know. I didn't finish it, and I didn't look up the storyline. Anyway, so yeah, with the Man of Medan thing, the 2 people in the coffin is one of the overarching issues I have, where it isn't a full-on I guess it shouldn't really be a full complaint. It's like bottom of the barrel complaint, but I think it's the final straw on the camel's back is what I'm going to say. It's the final straw on the camel's back because they say there's a note that says, we don't have enough coffins, we're going to put bodies together. We don't have that until later. We don't get that information. So when we first see it, we're like, oh my god, it's a mutant person. Oh my god, there's the 2 heads. Which, blah, 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 ableism. But we're like, oh my god. So that's why the character's afraid of it. Then we get the note saying, oh, there's not enough coffins. These are actually just 2 guys in the same coffin. Interesting. most of the game goes by. Game goes by. Game goes by. We get a different book. We read the book. Actually, the Chinese. Somebody, East Asia, was doing experiments on Americans, and they fused two people together. And that was the body we saw. So that first note got retconned by the second note. So the two people buried together was no longer two people buried together. They were actually fused by experiments done by people. Which, by the way, this is one of the big things with... I hate the military. I hate armed forces. I hate the culture. I hate everything about it. I can go on about that for ages. I'm not going to. But we did experiments with the people that were in concentration camps here, like Japanese people. We had one of the big things that I studied the most was there was a program to try to get dogs to attack exclusively Japanese people. It didn't work. They could not tell, but they faked the science behind it because they got these people that we took to camps, had them attack the dogs, and the dogs attacked them. So the statistics like, well, the dogs didn't attack us, the white people. So the dogs clearly attacked them because they were Japanese. And it was a whole thing. It was not real. The science was off. The studies are off. The dogs never could tell. But one of the quotes that I had read, one of the people in charge of this program said, and I quote, "The dogs can smell the difference between Japanese people's blood and us white Americans." And it was like, oh god, the fact that was only the one that I studied. And then the game and the propaganda of the armed forces, which is when I was watching your playthrough and give it wasn't forefront, it was kind of slightly background. I was doing my own thing with my own videos and muted, but still. And I never even got to the alien vampires part. I know you talked about it. I never even got to that. Like, well, I got to them, but I don't think I got to the whole. Like, it was, so, because I watched your playthrough, and then I was like, I don't want to watch this. So I decided to look it up, because I'm like, is this actually going to be real? So I looked up, I instantly paused your video, I brought up a bunch of different tabs, and was like, are the monsters real in House of Ashes? And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, it's real. And then I saw that people were like, alien vampires, and I'm like, it's what? And I got so distracted reading about the alien vampires that I didn't even watch it. And I was like, I spent like so long reading about them because I was so confused by it and how it was going to work. And then it reminded me of this other episode or something and of Supernatural. I complained about that before. It's one of my least favorite plots. And it was just a whole thing where I just was so distracted by looking it up that I didn't even watch it. But anyways, that was my biggest thing, that in House of Ashes, where we as a country don't do good things to other countries. I'm not super skilled in it, so I'm not going to talk about particular things. Like, knowledgeable. I'm not very knowledgeable, but in one instance, and give it again, maybe there were nuances and takes in the actual video game that I didn't hear because I was doing my thing. But what happened was, when they go and they land in the house, like they go to the house, and they're like, oh my goodness, these aren't bad guys. they're just, what did they say, like farmers or something? I don't know. But they were like, oh my god, they were like, they were just normal people. They were just living their life. And I thought they were going to actually have this nuance of like, you stormed their house for no reason. But it didn't happen. There was no nuance there because they turned out to be drug smugglers or drug dealers or whatever anyways. So it's like, don't worry, it was fine that we went to their house and we had a shootout. It's okay that we did all this. It's okay that this happened to them because don't worry, they were smuggling drugs. And I'm like, or have bad people or have good people in the crosshairs. Have these people like not deserve it. Like, have it be like, that sucks, we messed up, we shouldn't have one in there. And like, I think they were like tied or zip, like they were handcuffed or zip tied or whatever. I think they were, if I remember correctly, they were like on the ground or something. But then they look at the hatch and it's like, oh, there wasn't actually anything, it was drugs. And it was like, or, and again, I could be completely wrong. I could be misremembering this completely. So please tell me if I am wrong. But it's just like, they could have just been people. They could have not have been, like, you could have just had bad information. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. See, the thing is, I can't fully, well, no, I can. They're writers, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know how the US military works. I know I went to school with a whole bunch of people that were ex-armed forces, that complained about armed forces, that were on disabilities, and talking about the after effects and all that. So I know about that, but I don't know how the military actually works. No offense, nor do I really want to. There's so much wrong with it. That I don't want to have that in my brain. That people, anyways, the point is, I know we had to have our main characters be good in some way, shape, or form, and we obviously couldn't have the military be bad. But, like, could we not have just had them be people that weren't smuggling drugs? Like, I don't know. And that was the, I don't even, again, that might not even be the biggest problem in the whole video game. The problem was that was when I'm like, okay, guys, like, no. Like, that was the moment where I'm like, this isn't going to be good, is it? Yeah, I don't remember or know anything. I just, yeah. I don't actually remember. But it just, I don't know, there was just one moment where I remember I like turned back and like really started to watch it happen, and they were like, oh my god, they were like innocent, and then they're like, no, they weren't, screw that. I'm just like, okay. But I don't know. Anyways, that's not the point. And the game aside, self-fulfilling prophecies. I'm trying to think of one. I think I can only think of the Lucifer episode right now. But, could have been very interesting. Anyways, are they not making another... Not one of these, like the Man of Medan, Little Hope, House of Ashes, but like a completely different game. I can't remember what it's called, but I think they're making one where I'm like, oh, this is unrelated. Yeah, I think is Dark Pictures not the company, but like the creator, no, the man. He has the books. He's in the library. He's not part of the story. He has that walk down the hallway. That guy. That series. I think there is going to be a game unrelated to that whole series from the same company. So I am intrigued what they're doing with that. But I haven't bought any of these games. I don't own. Even back in the day with Until Dawn. I don't own any of these games, so with these games we watch them, and we will watch multiple people, but we don't play them. It's just like we haven't been intrigued enough to buy them. Yeah. Okay, so Dark Pictures is the thing, the series. So I thought there was going to be one from the same company, like Until Dawn, like that one company, and there's just going to be another game in that company, not in that one series. But there, I don't remember. So if you're right, then there's at least one more in that series. But I know that they were planning to make like 7, but they weren't making the money they expected, because the first 2 games, you make the first 2 games not have true villains, and then like true monsters. Like Until Dawn actually had a monster. You saw the monsters. You were scared of the monsters. I did like the not shooting, like the inactiveness. That was part. It doesn't matter. I'm going back to this game. There's too much about that game. Was this just a meaningless killing game where the ultimate despairs killed each other off? This is just too...
Don't give up yet! There is a way you guys can get out of here without letting Junko out.
Yeah. That's a lot of music. But anyways, there's I never watched it, but Quentin Reviews on YouTube, it's online everywhere, has like 13.5 hours of talking about Victorious and every episode. And it just reminds, like, it just, every time that happens, I'm like, I also would rant about something for 13.5 hours, and give it, he talks about, like, I never watched it, he talks about, like, each episode, and give it, that's a lot to talk about, so he probably doesn't even sway too much. Like, if I talked about every single episode of something for that long, I would have a 24-hour video more than just 13. But it just reminds me that I'm like, I would love to just go and talk about something. My other thing is, I think Quentin does do a lot of research from what I've seen. That's a lot of work. I would just probably watch something and then talk about it. But I have thought about that, where I'm like, I kind of just want to do that, because I love watching things that are not great. Or that are great. I watched the original Scream the other day, and I forgot that actor, because I know the original Scream, that one actor, who I'm not going to say, I spoiled all of Little Hope or whatever. So anyways, the killer in Scream, I forgot that, because I was like thinking, I'm like, I've seen this actor recently, semi-recently, years ago, and I was like, where did I see him recently, like as an adult? And I looked him up, and I forgot that he was in Riverdale, or is, I guess, as Jughead Jones's father, because I've only ever watched the first season of Riverdale, and I forgot. I completely forgot. Anyways, how old was that actor in Scream? Because depending on that really matters. Anyways. Also, God, that actor for Shaggy, I don't remember what his name is great. I love him too. Like, top tier. Also, probably, I've watched a lot of horror games and movies and TV shows because my sibling loves horror. A lot of them don't scare me. A lot of them can be like, ooh, spooky. People breaking into your house and killing you. That's scary. Scream's scary. Also realistic. With, well, realistic. More realistic than, with the fighting. Like, it is a little comedic that he can get, like, knocked out, when he's trying to kill them, but it's also pretty funny and also realistic. Like, yeah, a teenage boy wouldn't know how to fight someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would get, like, thrown around. Anyways, it was pretty fun. It's a little humorous, though. It's a little humorous how it's done. But anyways, that one actor, though. Anyways, not the point. I'm just now thinking about Scream. Well, the reason why... So we watched it, but then I saw... before that, I saw a GIF set of when he had, like, the blood on him. The fake blood. And he, like, licks his finger. And I'm just like... Anyways, point was that then we watched the movie. And, anyways, I like the movie. Yeah. We were thinking about watching the second one, but I don't know anything about the sequels for Scream. The point is here, I love talking. Huh?
No, there's no way such a convenient... There is? Really? Well, that's the first I've heard of it.
First, she heard of it. Then, it's a way that even Junko doesn't know, right? The way to get out that Junko doesn't know about... It must be that. God. No. Yes. A special command that can be used during the graduation exam. If you use it, you can override the observer and forcibly escape from the Neo World program. Not even the... Yeah, I guess... Not even the teacher observer can prevent that.
I see. Are you talking about the shutdown sequence?
Yeah. I liked Ring as well. The movie Ring. Is it the Ring? Ring? Is it just Ring? I don't know. That was pretty fun. That's spooky. But, yeah. I don't know, just like, it's like a post that I saw where it's like, you know, it's like, no, stop making horror movies happen in a house. Like, I live in one of those, and it's like, it's so true. I live in a house, and that's why Scream is so scary. I live in a house. I have a TV. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, my favorite is still the, what is it, 30 seconds of delay? It's like, oh, there's a 30-second delay, and, like, he's right out the van. Ah, good moments. Also, I hate the reporter. Like, I hate her viscerally, like, internally hate her, but she isn't, like, a bad character. So I don't know if she's supposed to be as hated as I hate her, but, like, it's actually really interesting that I hate her so much. But yet she's a good character, and it's really... Anyways, not the point.
Shutdown sequence? What is that?
It's a hidden command I set up in the Neo World program.
Hidden command?
Basically, I never believed the Neo World program was a perfect solution. There was always a possibility that Usami's hope might have made things even worse for you guys. So I prepared a way to shut down the program in case of emergencies.
As I recall, you said it was a command that not even the teacher can stop. And that means even Junko can't stop it.
Dear me, I have an unfortunate announcement to make, class. You cannot activate the shutdown.
Yeah, we need 2 more people. But that doesn't mean she wouldn't know about the sequence. Like, even if she couldn't affect it. Huh?
You know
Oh, okay, never mind. Of course she knows. She just talked about it.
More importantly, do you know why? Do
Yes.
you know why you can't activate the shutdown?
Yes. The reason the shutdown sequence can't be activated is...
I see.
I see.
Because there's not enough people?
Yeah, who is it gonna be?
Pay attention, class. According to my information, in order to initiate the shutdown...
Well, we need half the people. I think that means 2 more people. But 5 people, 5 I think, escaped from Hope's Peak. So there's Hina, Braca, Toko, and I forgot her name. She's your favorite. Silver hair, detective. I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm not going to get there. I'm not going to get there. Oh god. Kyoko. God, I wasn't even close. Kyoko. So if we need more than half, we might need 3. Oh. Did Yasuhiro get out too? Wait. Is he dead? No, he didn't die. Did he die? He didn't die. 6 people made it out. Yeah, 6 people made it out. So I'm assuming Yasuhiro isn't going to be... Like, unless they bring all of them back and put in here, like, all of them. If there's only 2, I'm assuming it's going to be Braca and Kyoko. Just because Braca was already brought up in this game, and Kyoko. Yeah, okay, 6. I thought there was only 5. I forgot. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Hero. I liked Hero. I liked hanging out with him. He was probably one of my favorites to hang out with in the first game. I really liked hanging out with him because he's just fun. He was just a fun... I know people hate him, and people hated Taka, but I liked hanging out with them, okay?
Out of 15 people, more than half of them must press graduate and repeat at the same time.
Yeah, that sounds like we're gonna fail and accidentally, like, misclick. And we're all gonna just vote.
Am I correct?
However, out of 15 people, including Makoto, there are only 6 people here.
Even if you want to cheat, I won't let ya. The shutdown sequence won't activate unless it knows that different people initiated it.
So it's totally impossible.
You totally saw through that supposedly hidden command? No need to worry. Even I knew we couldn't activate the shutdown.
So wait, why did we need 5 people then? I thought we had 5 people for a reason. Like, Junko had 5 people left for a reason. Oh, that's how many it takes to graduate. Right.
You still came here when you knew we had no chance of winning?
That's weird. That would be weird if it was 5 people to graduate. Anyways.
It's not that we have no chance of winning. The only reason I'm here is because there is a chance.
Makoto is so tiny. I want to protect him. Ever since I went back and he had the line about his bed being so plain. And he's like, I hope I didn't hurt its feelings. And again, I don't know if he stays like that or if that's a natural characterization of him. Ever since then, I'm like, he's an idiot and I want to protect him.
Then try explaining it to us. What is this chance of winning of which you speak?
I believe...
They put all the 3D modeling into just Giant Junko. It's like, that's the only one. Everyone else stays flat.
What? I can't hear you. You gotta speak up since you're so puny.
I believe in them. I believe they will definitely come.
Them? Oh, you know what?
That's not something you need to take your time saying.
That's a different voice actress. Is it? That's a different voice actress. Also, I was going to talk about Our Flag Means Death, which is a TV show, but I feel like I should pay attention.
Believe. Try putting yourself in our shoes before you drag us into situations like this.
Kyoko! Byakuya! I knew you guys would come!
My brain, is some reason. Same voice actress? Oh. Maybe I just remembered her voice differently. I keep forgetting who our main character is, so I'm like, what's happening? Like, I don't know why my brain is switching the two. Kyoko. Braca.
We'd be better off leaving behind someone who jumps to conclusions without listening to our warnings.
I'm sorry.
Even though it took some time for 2 people to enter the program simultaneously,
I guess so, yeah.
it appears we made it.
Maybe I just remember her voice differently.
Hey, what's going on? Why are there more people again?
Yeah, to be fair, it has been months.
How exciting! I haven't seen these faces in ages. It's like opening your high school yearbook 10 years later.
I must say, now that I'm seeing her up close, she's much bigger than I remembered.
Yeah, she isn't even the one talking. We're looking at the screen.
What? What kind of man isn't excited by big women? Once you gain some more experience, you'll understand.
Hey, listen, buff women, big women, I mean, like, you're right, but I know that's not what you're talking about.
There's a lot of kinky things you can do with big girls.
Yeah, you know, listen, there's a scene in Ella Enchanted, which I've watched. I think I definitely mentioned this a bunch of times, because I thought it was interesting, modern day mixed with magical and back in the day. But also my siblings absolutely loved Hugh Dancy. Like, absolutely loved Hugh Dancy. And also that other guy that I forgot his name. I always forget his name. I always forget everyone's name. I'm surprised I remembered Hugh Dancy. It's probably even wrong. But anyways, what happened is I watched it a whole bunch of times, but there is an elf who's like 5'4" or whatever, and I'm like, that's my height. Anyways, he, and the end ends up with a giant who is a woman, a giant woman, and talks about how he likes giant women. So size difference has been in my mind since I watched that movie for the first time. Like, I have known about it. It was one of the first times where I'm like, I don't understand. And then my sister's like, it's okay. We're good. So fun fact, it's okay, I'm good, Junko. Yeah. Yeah.
Byakuya! You're alive! But you're so skinny now. I feel so bad for you.
I know the joke is probably supposed to be like, why do you feel bad for him if he's skinny? Or that's also that she's dumb. But that's really funny.
You shut up too.
No, you shut up, man. She's valid. But also, someone has to break it to her that that's not the same guy.
Are you two also from the Future Foundation?
I loved this Brock. I'm excited for this game to be over solely so I can hang out with him 3 more times. Just saying.
No, it's probably not just that.
The 6 of you joined the Future Foundation. Yeah, it was the 6. The 6 of you joined the Future Foundation because you agreed with our ideals, right? The Future Foundation rescued you from the tragedy, and you survived, and helped you recover your memories.
tragedy. If the killing school life is referring to that.
You guys are the survivors of the killing school life who previously defeated Junko, right?
I get bored very easily. I kind of just want this to be more of a trial. When do I get to shoot things again?
Yeah, that's right. There's 3 of them here now?
Where's the rest of them?
The former heroes plunging themselves into the game world, ignoring all danger.
People would know them, though. That would be kind of weird. You're like, hey, and everyone's like, I know your trauma. We watched it. We also all got a little bit traumatized because we watched it, but like, we watched it. Because like, they said it was broadcasting. So it's like, imagine. You know?
Jeez, stupids! Making such a suicidal move. Did you really want to see me that badly?
I wouldn't. Sorry.
It can't be helped. In order to stop you, that suicidal move was our only choice.
So how about it? There are 8 people now. We have enough to activate the shutdown sequence.
Oh, we're crying. That one's new.
Why are you crying?
I don't like you, Bakura. Bring back better Bakura.
You guys showed up looking all cool and stuff, and now all the ultimate despairs. They'll be treated like even bigger chumps.
Chump, you said it again!
Just ignore her. As long as we activate the shutdown sequence, it'll be the end of her in this messed up world.
I don't even think we're halfway through this. End this messed up world.
Hey, can I ask you something?
I thought they were like close to holding hands for a second. They're not, but it was just like, what?
If we do shut down the program, what will happen to us?
We're gonna lose our memories. No, wait, nope, wait. Do we get our memories back if we do the 4 seconds forced shutdown?
No need to worry. We won't let you get hurt.
Physically.
It's not just that. We want a more detailed explanation.
Ah, good for you, Seta. Stand up to him.
If you shut down the Neo World program, everything within the program will be deleted. It will obviously delete Alter Ego Junko, along with your avatars here.
Okay.
So you're saying we're going to be deleted too?
No, no, no. Well, will we? Wait, wait, are we? Wait. But then you guys would also sacrifice yourselves. You're here. Oh, she did say it was a suicidal move. You know what? I'm actually going to be paying attention.
It doesn't mean you'll be deleted.
Oh, wait,
The
never mind.
program will just finish without completing the graduation program. What does that mean for us? Your avatars will not upload, so you will revert to your original state before you entered the program.
Oh. So we'll get our memories back. But only our memories. We won't have any memory of this. Everyone will just be dead. Maybe Fuyuhiko wants that if he's the ultimate despair. The despair of not knowing what happened to Peko.
Is there a reason to tell them all that?
They have to know everything, or else they won't agree to do it.
No, they might agree, but you know, informed consent is pretty important. I mean, give it. Informed consent is a stupid way of putting it. Consent is knowing, is being informed, but you know, whatever.
Hold on a second. If we go back to our original selves before we entered the program,
Like, you can't consent unless you have the information. Anyways, if we're going to revert back to our original selves before entering the program, you revert to the ultimate despairs.
I see.
Also lose our mana coins. That's also
Does
correct.
that mean we'll go back to being ultimate despair?
Aw, a little tear in my eye. That's cute.
That's right. Back to being hopelessly controlled by me. When you used to feel despair upon despair. No!
Are you fucking serious? Can't you do anything about it?
I understand your concern, but this is the only way to stop Junko.
Didn't we want like at the beginning of this trial, even after we learned we were ultimate despairs? Maybe they didn't then. After we learned we were ultimate despairs, did we not say we wanted our memories back? I mean, for me, what the problem is, I mean, yeah, you're a horrible human person, sure, human being, but like, I would not want to. For me, what would be the problem is like, yes, I'm reverting back to being horrible, but like the fact that I'm losing knowledge of who I am right now is awful. I don't know. God, I don't know.
It might be a painful decision, but I know you guys will be able to overcome it. That's why, in order to defeat despair, I want you guys to fight alongside us.
Yeah, my sibling and I never watched it, but there's the TV or the Twitch. I actually don't know where they put it. YouTube. I think they put it on YouTube. Of Critical Role, and it's the DM is it's a D&D thing. The DM is Matthew Mercer. But anyways, there's like a few voice actresses, and I know two of them, their work pretty well. Just like I looked them up before and I know them. I've watched things that they're in, and I'm trying to talk to my sister about it, and we just kept fumbling who we were talking about, because I forgot what the one lady's name was, but I was talking about her, and it was just a whole thing because it was just such a fumble. Anyways, I'm still thinking about voice actors. Anyways.
We still have to fight? I thought we finally reached the end.
Don't worry. Once you get out, we will do our best to support you.
But I thought the Future Foundation wanted to kill every last ultimate despair.
Why would we want to kill them? They're just people. Like, I guess if you have a mass outbreak of murderers, I guess you have a shoot to kill kind of situation. But like, that's pretty harsh. For this reason, the remnants of despair must be immediately eliminated once they are discovered.
When you say support, do you mean I'll make sure you don't suffer when I kill you, or?
Of course not. We would never allow that to happen.
It's gonna be alright. Your real bodies have just been brainwashed. That's why I'm pretty sure you'll quickly revert back to the state you're in right now.
Will you stop saying cheesy stuff like brainwashed? Washing your brain is like really nasty.
I keep talking, but yeah, there's a video that someone's like, you ever have a headache and you want to like pop your brain out and run it under cold water, and a lot of people are like, no, that's a weird thing. But yeah, I get migraines, like a visual headache, or visual migraines and headaches all the time, like all the time. And sometimes, listen, sometimes it's like back in the day, take your brain out and wash it under cold water, but I have had it where I've like run freezing cold water over my head. But also, like, you know, back in the day where they take a sharp skewer and they will put it at I think, the back of your head, and they'll just make a little hole so it releases pressure from your head. And for some people it actually worked. For a lot of people it didn't, and it was dangerous, especially back in the day. But apparently for a lot of people, or for a good amount of them, or some of them, enough to have it noted, that did actually help with people's headaches. And it was really funny, so every time I get a headache I just think about that, because it's just like, it's one of those things that like, oh god, I wish I could just do this. Where I have that where in the back of my neck always sounds like liquidy, like a liquid joint. And I have the same thing where I kind of just want to like tap it, like a tap in a tree, just like a syrup tap, just because it's annoying, and it really gets to me. I hate the noise, I hate the sensation, I hate it, and it really just gets to me. But people just don't understand. It's like for when people talk to me about ASMR, I don't understand it. For a while, I never got even the sensation. Like people are like, it's because it activates or whatever in your brain, and it's like your nape of your neck is where it activates or feels, at least. But there's been one commercial for McDonald's, an advertisement that is on the radio, and it's on like Spotify, and it's on like different places. So it'll be when I'm listening to like music, so I'm listening and it'll be good, and then it will have it, and it is supposed to be an ASMR commercial, and usually the ASMR commercials don't do anything. Even so I hate ASMR, it doesn't do anything. But that commercial makes me want to rip like my spinal cord out. It's like my nerves. I can't. It bothers me so much. It's chewing and it's whispering, and it's like the textures, and it'll be like, oh, it's awful. Anyways, point was, brains are weird.
But still, even if our brainwashing is undone, the memories we've made up till now will be erased, right?
Once I find a place to stop, I'm probably going to stop. I knew this wasn't going to be ended anytime soon, so that's why I'm like, whatever, I'm going to just talk.
Does that mean we'll completely forget everything we did on this island?
So,
I don't want that.
next time I feel like it's a good place, I'm just going to stop. So probably in a few minutes.
It doesn't matter what
Maybe.
you want. That's the reality. Every meaningless thing that happened here will vanish from your minds.
It is. I mean, yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I have a few more goes. That's why I'm like, I'm just going to chat, because it wasn't going to be happening today. I knew that. So, meaningless, vanish. Does that include her too? If we lose our memories of this world, we're also going to forget she ever existed, right? Oh. Now it's sad. If that happens, does it really mean that if she, an existence confined to this world, is really going to disappear? She risked her life to protect us, and we won't even remember she existed.
Memory's not all that'll go back to normal. If you've lost a limb, like Nagito, it'll still be gone when... Please stop!
I mean, yeah.
Going back to reality in that condition, that's like a bad joke.
We're not joking. That is your past. Nobody can escape their past.
I mean, that is your true self, I guess.
We don't know anything about that past.
This is the altered now.
Hey, why did we become ultimate despair in the first place?
Fair point.
I asked the same thing in the real world, but nobody would give me an answer.
You know what bothers me is that we're not going to get their backstory, and I know that. We're not going to get their backstory. We're not going to know why each of them did things. We won't learn any of their story, and I think that's what really gets to me. It's like we set up this cool thing, and we're not going to get any of the payout. I don't think. I don't think it will be satisfying. I wish for... This is a lot of talking, like, oh my goodness, this happens, but we're not going to see any payout from it. Like, we're not going to see, like, Soda being the ultimate despair. It would be interesting if we make it to the real world and meet each other. But I want to say it probably ends with us leaving. It probably won't show us the real world.
It seems my teachings were quite thorough. However, if you ask me...
Okay, so you do get a little bit in the anime. I might look into it then. I heard it wasn't great from what I think someone said, but...
People who cling to stuff like hope, talent or admiration are truly the weakest.
Huh?
Guys who desperately want to reach the top. They don't think about what'll happen when they're pushed off. They're probably too concerned with having a really nice view while they condescend to others. Shoving off guys like that is so easy. I happen to know 17,082 ways to do that. The point is, the moment you cling to talent and hope, despair has already set in.
That's not even an explanation.
Then, what if you think about it like this? It turns out that you guys being ultimate despair was just part of the game world. And in truth, those guys from the Future Foundation might be part of the game world too. They're simply side characters of the game world whose role is to offer hopeless hope to you guys.
No, we know them. They're game one, you know?
Well, after saying all that, I don't even know what's real and what's a game anymore.
Are you kidding around?
Enough. My patience is wearing thin. Let's hurry and start the shutdown sequence already.
Before you do that, we gotta do some reviewing.
Hmm.
When you guys activate the shutdown, you'll revert back to when you were known as Ultimate Despair.
Okay.
And your dead friends will never be revived.
Okay. I mean, they weren't going to be in the first place.
And the embodiment of despair, aka me, will be erased, thereby preserving hope in the real world.
I still don't love that she's back. I don't think. I don't know. Okay.
Now then, will the hope of the Future Foundation win? Or will my despair win?
I'm assuming we end with us leaving and you getting deleted. You talking to her like she's here. Is this gonna be a thing? Should I save? Might save here forever, but I'm gonna see what she has to say.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
Things are starting to heat up.
This isn't a game, you know.
Au contraire. This is a game.
Okay,
a
good.
game of hope and despair that started with your killing school life.
I'm gonna save it here then. I'm gonna resave it. I know I saved it 2 seconds ago, but I'm gonna save it now. Yeah. I don't know where is gonna. My fear is I'm gonna play it and then there's actually gonna be just a little bit left and I'm not gonna know. But if that happens, so be it. Like, not this time. I mean, like in the future, but it is what it is. This week I have a few appointments, but it will be hopefully Thursday or Friday, and then so like either normal time or the day after normal time. Like today is one day ahead, but it depends because I have a few things I gotta do. But hopefully it would be one of those days. I tried to edit my schedule, but then I just ended up deleting all of the schedule I had, and I was like, oh, oops. Or like a whole day of my schedule, so I'm like, never mind, I'm not going to edit that anymore. So hopefully I have either normal or the day after. But anyways, so there's so much talking. I don't even get to play any of the games anymore. I mean, there's a bunch of I'm not there. A bunch of truth bullets that I haven't done yet, so I'm assuming we're actually going to get into that. I think. Anyways. Yeah. I just don't really get a lot of time to be on my computer. So the only times I do is actually when I stream, pretty much. So, it's like, when do you plan to stream? It's like, God, I don't know when I'll be able to sit down next. But yeah, so, but I do want to finish it. I'm excited to hear the rest of it. It's not the worst story, but I don't know. I get open stories wouldn't be very good though. I'm going to listen to the rest of it first before I say anything. Anyways, I'm gonna go. But thank you for being here. Always super duper fun. Well, for me. I don't know how it's entertaining for you. I tried listening to my own stream one time and I went, ew. And I stopped. So anyways, but thank you for being here. Okay.